Hello.
Hello.
Aloha. So, it was brought to my attention that it has been quite some time since I've done a garden update. So, I am going to do that. This is an end of April garden update. And I am sad to say this is what happens when you are forced to get back into the rat race. I had to get employed because we ran out of dough. So my tomatoes, actually, these are not a sad story. They look pretty thrashed, but they have been very productive. This is a second worm bucket that I started just for fun, using some of the native worms mixed with the worms from my other bucket. As you can see, it is full of plants that are growing in here. These are all fruits and stuff. Most of these, you see tons of papayas in there, because I've just thrown a lot of seeds in. There are some other plants in there I cannot name off. I think this is a papaya or a pepper. Not entirely certain. Anyway, this is a miscellaneous bin. I have, in my old January video, I was attempting to grow some, boy, is it me or is that not focusing well? Give me 1 second here. I'm going to see if there's something on the lens. I don't know if that helped. Anyway, I was trying to grow Rollinia and soursop, and what happened when I got busy is that a bunch of these sprouted, dropped their tops, and I have tons of these soursop and Rollinia sprouts growing, and the slugs are devouring them. I hate the slugs around here. They're such a pain. They're eating my citrus. This is just a miscellaneous bin, like I said. There's also some date seeds in there. This is an experiment that I did with jackfruit, and that looks like that is starting to sprout. Oh my gosh, why won't it focus? All right. I wonder if the autofocus is off. Let me see if I can. Oh, look at that. There's autofocus. Sorry about all that. Anyway, these more date palms. See if those will sprout. I grew those in Montana. If I can grow those in Montana, I can grow them here. Medjool dates. I love them. These are mountain apple seeds. They're kind of an odd fruit. I should do a video on those, but I haven't found any good ones in a while. More jackfruit. That one is sprouting as well. You can see these are experiments I was trying directly in coconut husk, and they seem to be a really good sprouting medium. So, okay, moving on. Plants from before. Lots of pineapple tops growing. Even this is just a standard potato that I had some eyes. I stuck them in the dirt and they took off. There's also a bunch of those growing in the compost pile. This is another Rollinia. Got tons of those. I was really excited to get those growing. This is another coffee resurrection experiment. I got some little guys that were hurting, so I'm going to try to bring them back to life. Try to get to focus there. I don't know if it will, but you can kind of see the little nubs. These are all Rollinia. As you can see, the slugs have heavily damaged leaves. I had so many extra seeds from that, I just threw them in these pots and they just suddenly took off. You can look back at the January video. These hadn't even sprouted yet. Same with these are all soursop, missing a lot of leaves. They keep trying to grow. These are Rollinia that I spread out. I wanted to move them out. They look like they're a little nutrient deficient. I need to update those. I think I put some fertilizer on them recently, so they should start perking up a little bit. Little papayas. These are peppers. I think they're the Hawaiian or Thai chili peppers. And the slugs are destroying them bit by bit. I just don't have time to to work on them. It's just been constantly rainy. These are jackfruit experiments. My jackfruit had a ton of seeds, and the seeds, by the way, I wish I would have done a video because those are quite tasty. I pan-fried up the seeds and put some macadamia nut oil and garlic salt on them. Anyway, that'll be a good future video maybe. This is one of the first Rolliniae I got growing, and I've actually kind of been babying it, but the slugs are getting to it. It is throwing new leaves though. Another one here. More Rolliniae. I just have so many of those. I hope I can keep them alive long enough to get them going. Something I've had tremendous difficulty with up here, probably because I'm so high up on the mountain, is cacao. And these are cacao. The seed pods fracture. They're very interesting when they pop open. But I finally got some sprouted. I don't know if they'll stay alive. I have another one over here by this coffee. I'm not sure how it got dropped in this pot, but it is growing. Hopefully we'll get some leaves on that. This I am excited about. This popped up in my worm box recently, and it seems to be doing quite well back here. That is a mango. Very happy to have mango growing. I love mangoes. More mountain apple. Had a couple little nubs on it. Hopefully that'll take off. I got avocados like crazy. This is a Mame Sapote I planted months ago. I think I planted that shortly after we moved in here. And it has been growing so slowly. Unbelievably slow. But it is growing, so I'm excited. That's one of my first rambutan that I planted, and one of the only ones I have left from when we first got here. Other ones have been destroyed by pigs or slugs or other things. This is my first and greatest butter avocado, and this thing has just gone nuts. And I found the most interesting thing. I had a apple tree, a baby apple tree sprout that sprouted with this avocado and in the worm bucket, and I put them together, and they love each other. You can see the apple came out, it crept over the avocado stem up, and it has been growing parallel right next to the avocado. And it's the strangest, it's like a symbiotic relationship, and they both seem so happy. I haven't done anything to this thing, hardly at all. I just leave it back here in the shade, and it is so happy. They are very happy together. Here is another avocado popping out. Not sure what that guy was. Lost its leaves. More avocado. My tamarind. These are the peppers. This was a funny thing. I forgot about this tray from when I first started working in the garden months ago. And it was under the old abandoned car, and I forgot about it. And I went and I opened it. I was going to throw it away, and these had all sprouted. And that's as big as they are after all these months. They've just been growing away in there. This is just a few days old. This was the stalk left over from a head of romaine lettuce, I think, that we purchased at the store. And literally it has no roots. I had this sitting up on, it was just a chunk. I had it sitting on the balcony up here up on the lanai, and it started growing at the top, just sitting there, pulling moisture from the air. And so this is just like 3-4 days of growth. I just stuck it in some dirt for fun, and it's going crazy. This is the very core of another one I was just experimenting with. I just thought I'd stuff it in dirt and see if it did anything. It's already starting to photosynthesize, getting some chlorophyll there. That was pure white yesterday. So my other tomato plant, those tomatoes have been producing fruit like crazy. I'll show you some of them here shortly. some of my better Rollinia. I'm not sure why the slugs are leaving that one alone. Both of those are Rollinia. I think that's a soursop. And I had some cherimoya out here too. I think these are soursop here. Getting some little leaves, but it looks like the slugs are eating the leaves as fast as they pop out. This, if you watched our durian video, my durian have sprouted. They actually sprouted almost immediately after I planted them, like within a couple of days it seemed like. It maybe a week. Excuse me. Couldn't believe how fast those popped out. But once they popped out, they stuck in this state here. They were just curled and not doing anything. So they've been like that for, I think, over a month now. And then, so I took some grass, and just threw it over them to kind of insulate them, keep them warm, and they started popping up. So they're happy about that. Either they're getting nitrogen out of that, or they just like the extra warmth. There's a little citrus, lemon or orange. Of course, I have a horrible habit of not marking my pots because I'm always in a rush. I stick stuff in the dirt.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a garden update video. This is these squash that my stepmother has growing all around here. They just grow crazy in the forest, and so I saved one of the seeds from when we ate. They're actually quite tasty. In there, these were all little stubs, little tiny stems of onions, green onions that we had eaten for dinner. And of course, I go crazy with I love taking things that look like they should go in the compost pile because they're just, you know, just little stubs that are left over from cutting up the onions. I stick them in the dirt and they take off growing. So it's really kind of cool. I get tons of those. These are all eaten by slugs. These are orange bell peppers and red bell peppers. They popped up really fast, unlike the Thai chilies. I don't know if they're Thai chilies or Hawaiian chilies. A lady at the farmer's market said they were Hawaiian chili peppers, and they look way different than any peppers I've grown. We got citrus in here. This was just a spare pot. Some volunteer tomatoes. These are more of the peppers that I've decided to spread out because I really want to get those growing. I love those chili peppers. They're so good. I think these are chili peppers and they are going crazy. Everything I put back on this side, for some reason, it just loves it over here. I think it's because it's out of the rain, but still gets a fair share of sunlight, but not too much. If that makes sense. A lot of these seem to grow well in partial shade, it seems. A lot of rainforest plants, maybe. Another volunteer tomato. Second generation from my other tomatoes, I believe. Actually, that might be a cherry tomato. It's one of the two. I love tomatoes and I use a lot of them. It's like, why don't I just grow these? They're so easy to grow. Tons of avocados. Sprouts. Sprouting. I'm going to have so many avocado trees. There's another cacao coming up. So I've already shown you these. That avocado is so happy. And that is the bulk. Here's some more coffee rescues. Coffee is doing quite well out here. Now we are way up on the mountain. This is interesting. I've been collecting sprouted coconuts, and we are probably about 3,000 feet plus here. And so I did not expect coconuts to grow up here as well as these are doing. And this is, just since I put them in here, this is all new, you know, this is new growth. This one I'm trying to resurrect. And it's got a little bit of green on the stem, so I have hope for it. This guy we just stuck in a bucket. This is all new growth in here. But they're doing quite well for as cold as it is up here most of the time. Oh boy. These are longan fruit that I planted a few months ago. The weeds are kind of taking over. I haven't had time to really take care of anything. More soursop popping out of, I've trying this grass experiment on them like I did with the durian. They seem to like it quite a bit as well. I think my video just terminated and I don't know if it was even still recording.
What are you going to do?
Plumeria rescue. It was just a stem when I got it a couple of months ago. My poha berries, I showed those I think in January, and they are actually producing fruit. I just haven't done anything with them. You can see the lanterns on the back. Small plants. More avocado. This is actually ginger growing here, and there's some other stuff in there. These are pomegranates that I planted. Interesting. Never grown pomegranate before. These are pomelos or pomelo. That is another pepper, I think. Another pomelo, pomelo. These are egg fruit and abu fruits that I started, I think, when we first got here. And they are not dead and yet not producing. Oh, there's another long in there. It's still green. It's still photosynthesizing, and yet nothing is growing. It does look like something's popping up over here. My struggling plants. Tried putting some out here as an experiment, out in direct sunlight with the rain. They hate it. Really wish I had a greenhouse. My sweet potato is still alive, not flourishing like I expected. This guy showed, I think, back in January, and since we got here, it's been really stunted, and it just recently had a burst of new growth, so some sort of citrus. My citrus that I've grown from seed, lemons and oranges, they're actually doing okay out here so far. Another Rolenia or soursop, I think. Might be a cherimoya. They have a very similar seed. Random citrus that I pulled out of the worm bucket. Poor struggling papaya. More papayas. Slightly bigger papaya. My dragon fruit farm. These guys have grown quite a bit since January. You can see they're starting to throw a bunch of little buds. Something, I think it was mice, judging by the little tooth marks in them. I think mice were chewing on these. But it seems they have ceased for the time being. That one's been really chewed up pretty bad. That one's not too big. I think they're all a bit bigger than when I showed them to you last time. That one's about hand size. So, coffee garden, I think I already showed you that. Whew, the banana has grown quite a bit since January. Not awesomely, but definitely doing okay. Looks like, you know, got new leaves popping here. Hasn't been fertilized or anything as well as it should have been. So, I'll show you my compost pile real quick. It's kind of crazy. Look at this, another avocado I just stuck in this bank, and it took off. So many of those. This is the compost pile, and you can see it's kind of mucky. Carrot tops sprouting out of here, just the tops. There's no roots or anything. But they just keep growing, just like the onions and stuff. All of these, I probably have enough papayas here to start a several acre farm. There's just thousands of them in here. It's crazy. Here's another, as I was telling you about. Look at those slugs on there. I hate slugs. Not only are they good for rat lung, they also destroy your crops. But you can see this is just a stump of romaine just left out here in the pile, and it starts growing. It's crazy. Alright, I promised I'd show you my tomatoes real quick. I'll pause for a moment. Oh, forgot to mention, these are the old dragon fruit. I think I showed those to everybody. The ginger was harvested and we got a ton of ginger root out of those 3 or 4 pots that we had here. It was amazing how much ginger root there was on those plants. This is more jackfruit that I'm sprouting. That one's popping up. I love jackfruit. It's amazing. It tastes like juicy fruit gum. And it has lots of uses. We actually did the pulled pork experiment. Use a green jackfruit. This little guy harvested all the citrus. I discovered through YouTube that because these are grafted, the tops are already mature, and that's why they sprout fruit so young. And they'll actually starve themselves of nutrients. They'll produce so much fruit that they'll destroy themselves. So you gotta keep the fruits off of them. That's just a top of, this is my son's little experimental garden. Some things he's been playing with. He's not quite as into growing stuff as I am. Strawberries. Random stuff from the store that I just stuff in the dirt. All right. Move it. These are all tomatoes off of my tomato plant. They're not huge, but they are lovely red and quite tasty in a salad. Good consistency.
Oh, guys, look, we have an avocado and
another avocado seed. Like, we need more of those. This pineapple was an experiment. I just want to see if it would root in this water. It is. So, anyway.
Oh, yeah, wait, don't forget.
That is it.
Hey, guys, really, you're gonna leave it.
Aloha.
Bye.
Bye-bye.